Shalom to my brothers and sisters in the body of Yahushua HaMashiach. And I bring you another word today. And this is confirmation. My sister and I received the same confirmation, and another sister of mine had shared with me a dream, well, actually two dreams, to confirm what I'm about to share with you today. So the title of this lesson is, let me get to it, would be the coming of the beast that was, that is, and is not, even is the eighth of the seven. I'll read it again. The coming of the beast that was, that is, and is not, even is the eighth and of the seven. And the sole basis of this lesson will be coming from Revelation 16. So today, the Most High, you know how he stir your spirit up and give you more insight about his prophecies. So I'm going to read this post to you that I share with my brothers and sisters on Facebook. In this picture here, you see the destruction of Babylon. At last, that great city, Babylon, for in 1 hour judgment has come, as written in the book of Revelation. I can't make out the chapter they have listed in the inscription, but I do know it relates to chapter either 16, 17, and 18. Okay. And what he gave me insight on was the gatherings shall happen before the destruction of Mystery Babylon, the harlot. And this harlot that we know of today is America, my people. It is USA, that sits upon the beast that is to come, that is not, and yet to come. Okay? Those who are sealed by the blood of the Lamb, which is Yahushua HaMashiach blood, as written in Revelation chapter 7 precepts, Exodus chapter 12, and Ezekiel chapter 9 verse 4, with Ephesians chapter 1 verse 13 through 14, will be hidden in Yahuwah's pavilion and protected in the ark of salvation. Psalms 27 verse 5. For in the time of trouble he shall hide me in his pavilion. In the secret of his tabernacle shall he hid me. He shall set me up upon a rock. Now, the redemption that we know that's about to come is dealing with three groups of people. One of them will be dealing with them in the earthly realm, and the other two groups will go to the heavenly realm. And I'm going to bring this down just a little bit. And you want to take this time to pause your screen. Either you can take a picture, but you want to write these verses down, because at the beginning of this video, I'm not going to read these verses by each one. If I have time in the video, I will come back to this slide and read it. But dealing with the 144,000, they will be redeemed from the earth, for they will be with Yahushua HaMashiach to defeat the last Antichrist and his system, which is called the beast. So that's very important to remember. Okay. Number two, the second group of people, the chosen remnant of Israel to enter the Holy Land. And this would take place within the earthly realm. Make sure you write those scriptures down. And the third group of people is the body of Yahushua, also known as the church/bride, also known as the spiritual temple that's not made by man's hand, the spiritual temple of Yahuwah, shall be redeemed from the earth. Okay? So make sure you write those scriptures down. And then in the description box, I will put the link to the King James Bible online.org, so you will have access to the 1611 Bible for the precepts. So as of this time, we know for without a shadow of a doubt, and I have proof in the scriptures to prove to you that the gathering shall happen before the destruction of Mystery Babylon, the harlot that sits upon the beast. And we know that is America, my people. Okay? So let us go to Revelations chapter 16, because there's 3 chapters that will prove what I'm telling to you. Now you need to write this down now. Get a pencil and paper. And what I noticed about the book of Revelation, it's not written in order, my people. It's like a conversation. It jumped from subject to subject. And it's written that way to protect its secrets from my enemies. Okay? Only those who have the Holy Spirit dwelling in them will understand these mysteries. Okay? So if you read Revelations 8 to 11, that goes together. It goes over about the 3 rows. But pay special attention to Revelations chapter 9, verse 4, because I noticed that when one of those plagues are occurring, only the people who have been sealed by Yahuwah shall be protected. That reminds me about what happened in Exodus. Remember? He made a distinction between the Hebrew Israelites and the Egyptians. For the Hebrew Israelites didn't receive those plagues, the 10 plagues, but the Egyptians did. So he's going to do the same thing again. He's going to make a distinction between the children of light, who are the children of Yahuwah, between the children of light, who are the children of Yahuwah, from the children of the devil, Satan, and they are the children of darkness. Next group of chapters that go together is Revelation 12 to Revelation 15. Okay? But in this lesson, we're going to be mainly coming out of Revelation 16, 17, 18, and 19. I shall first read to you the Bible summary, which is Revelation 16. The angels pour out their vials full of wrath. The plagues that follow thereupon. Yahushua HaMashiach cometh as a thief. Blessed are they that watch. Let us proceed, my brothers and sisters. Verse 1. And that summary is giving you something very important. Okay? And I heard a great voice out of the temple saying to the 7 angels, Go your ways and pour out the vials of the wrath of Yahuwah upon the earth. And the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worship his image. Now, you need to write this down. We have a key sign here. The mark of the beast. This is the time that the people will receive the mark of the beast. That's very important. This is the foundation of this chapter. So we know now that the mark of the beast has been implemented. Okay? Verse 3. And the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea, and it becomes as the blood of a dead man, and every living soul died in the sea. So that's another great characteristic. The sea will have to turn to blood, my people. Number 4. And the third angel poured out his vial upon the rivers and fountains of waters, and they became blood. So it's going to spread to the rivers and to the fountains of water, my people. Verse 5. And I heard the angel of the water say, Thou art righteous, O Yahuwah, which art, and was, and shall be, because thou hast judged thus. For they have shed the blood of saints and prophets, and thou hast given them blood to drink, for they are worthy. So now you got the reason why one of the plagues that this modern day Egypt will receive, because they shed the blood of saints and prophets. So in return, Yahuwah is going to pay them back. Verse 7. And I heard another out of the altar say, Even so, Yahuwah Elohim Almighty, trust and righteous are thy judgments. Verse 8. And the fourth angel poured out his vial upon the sun, and power was given unto him to scorch men with fire. And men were scorched with great heat, and blaspheming the name of Yahuwah, which have power over these plagues. And they repented not to give him glory. And I see a precept there. And it means there, when you see scorch, it means burned. Okay? They were burned with great heat. Let's proceed on. And the fifth angel poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues for pain. And this is very important. The beast that is talking about now is dealing with the one that comes out of the other. That's written in Revelation chapter 13. And I will go in more detail as we go over these chapters. But pay attention that there will be darkness in his kingdom. Remember, we are expecting a plague of darkness to come. This could have a spiritual meaning as well, dealing with the righteous ones, because we know the righteous ones will soon be redeemed. Okay? So it can have two meanings. It can have a spiritual meaning, and it can have a carnal meaning, that actually a plague of darkness will come in his kingdom. Another thing I want you to pay attention to, it said the seat of the beast. So where's the seat of the beast? If you read Revelations, I think it's Revelations chapter 2 or chapter 3, we know the seat of Satan is in Turkey, modern day Turkey today. It's very important that we know these things. Everything that's written in the Bible has pieces to the whole, has pieces to the puzzle. And once we put these pieces together, we can see the whole picture. All right, verse 11. And blaspheming Yahuwah of heaven, because their pains and their sores, and repented not of their deeds. So those who receive the mark of the beast, which is the last Antichrist, my people, they are going to receive these great plagues. Verse 12. And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. So he's making a way. Something's about to come forth, my people, for the kings of the east. Verse 13. And I saw three unclean spirits, like frogs, come out of the mouth of the dragon, out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. So we have the dragon, which is Satan. The beast is represent the kingdom he's ruling. And then the prophet, okay, the false prophet. For they are the spirits of the devils, working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle of the great day of Yahuwah Almighty. So these two verses let us know that they are preparing for war. They are, gathering together to prepare for this great day of battle against Yahuwah. Okay. Now here's the key verse I want you to pay attention to. It said, behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watches and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. It's very important to highlight that verse 15, because it's not giving you the day or hour, but it's giving you an idea how this should fall before other events. And you will see as I read further on in this chapter. Okay. And the precept to that verse is Matthew chapter 24, verse 44. Okay. And I'm going to read that to you now. Turn with me to Matthew chapter 24, verse 44. So we can see what that precept is. Matthew chapter 24, verse 44. There be ye also ready, for in such an hour as you think not, the Son of Man cometh. Okay. Remember the Bible summary. It is said that the plagues that followed thereupon, Yahushua HaMashiach cometh as a thief, Blessed are they that watch. So those who are watching and paying attention to the signs and paying attention to what's going on in the world and understanding these prophecies will be ready for his return. Verse 16. And he gathered them together in a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. Now we know Armageddon also pertains to the valley of Jehoshaphat. It's written in Joel chapter 3. Okay. Verse 17. And the seventh angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne, saying, "It is done." Okay. Now we're going to talk about something very important here. So get ready. Get your pencils and paper ready, my people. And there were voices and thunders and lightnings. And there was a great earthquake such as was not since men were upon the earth. So mighty an earthquake and so great. So here is giving us proof that the great earthquake has not come yet. Right now, the earthquakes that we are experiencing and that we are seeing in the news is not greater than this one that is to come. We're going to see why. Verse 19. And the great city was divided in three parts, and the cities of the nations fell, and great Babylon came in remembrance before Yahuwah to give her the cup of the wrath, the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. We have a precept here, okay? So we know Babylon is going to receive this great earthquake, and it's going to be divided into three parts. The precept for that is Jeremiah 25, verse 15. Let us turn to that now. Get your Bibles out, my people. And we shall turn to Jeremiah chapter 25, verse 15. Jeremiah chapter 25, verse 15. For thus saith Yahuwah Elohim of Israel unto me, take the wine cup of this fury at my hand, and cause all the nations to whom I send thee to drink it. In your spare time, read Jeremiah chapter 16, verse 14 through 21. Okay? So Jeremiah 25, verse 15 is the precept to Babylon of today. Okay, let us go back. So that great city will be divided into three parts by a great earthquake. And every island fled away, and the mountains were not. And there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent, and men blaspheming Yahuwah because of the plague of the hail, for the plague thereof was exceedingly great. So we know with Great Babylon, we're divided into three parts, will fall sometime after Yahushua redeeming his people. For I like to share with you with what the Most High shown to me in July 2016. For he let me know a sword is coming to the house of Jacob, to his children. And he also let me know to read Jeremiah 31. Read that whole chapter, my people, because as we go further in this lesson, you will see how that will relate to these prophecies that we're waiting on to be fulfilled. Okay? Now, let us go to Revelations chapter 17. To see why the gathering will happen before Babylon is destroyed. I'm going to start with this summary. It's very important that you read these summaries of these chapters because they also give you the mysteries too. Revelation chapter 17. A woman arrayed in purple and scarlet, with a golden cup in her hand, sitteth upon the beast, which is great Babylon, the mother of all abomination. The interpretations of the 7 heads and the 10 horns, the punishment of the whore, the victory of the Lamb. Let us proceed further. And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will shew unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. That's a key characteristic of Babylon, my people, is she is classified as the great whore that sit upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness. See how he always deal with us in spiritual things? And I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having seven heads and 10 horns. So you want to write this down. So the woman sat upon a colored beast, and this beast was full of names of blasphemy, and this beast had 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abomination and filthiness of her fornication. So we have a precept here for this verse, because it's describing what this woman looks like to represent the country that is actually Babylon of today. And in verse 4, where you see the word decked right here, another word for it in Greek is gilded, Gilded. Let us proceed to verse 5. Verse 5, and upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abomination of the earth. So that's a characteristic of the woman. Write it down, my people, because this is how we're going to confirm to each today that it is America. Okay? And another way to say mother of harlots, she is the mother of fornications. Okay? So mother of fornications and mother of harlots, because America is a place where they serve other gods. They don't believe in Yahuwah. They do not keep the covenant of Yahuwah. They are the opposite. And as written in Psalms 137, Edom is the daughter of Babylon, and Jacob is the daughter of Zion. Do you see the two parallel, how they're opposite, these two brothers? That's why it's very important to understand 2nd Ezra chapter 6, verse 7 through 9. So back to Mystery Babylon, which is America. And on her forehead it is written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots, or the mother of fornication, because she encourages mankind to serve other gods, which is adultery and idolatry. And she also have written on her forehead abominations of the earth. So she does everything that the Most High hates, what detests him. Okay? Verse 6. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua HaMashiach. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. So this is very important about this whore that sits upon the beast, which is America. She had killed what? The saints and the martyrs of Yahushua. That's very important, because when you read Revelation 12, verse 17, I kept wondering why some of them didn't make it into the wilderness. And this may explain, because there may be some people who are assigned and destined to be matrix for him, for Yahuwah. So when you read Revelation 12, verse 17, it said, and the dragon was wroth with the woman, and that woman in Revelation 12 represents the nation of Israel, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. So it's dealing with her lineage, okay? But it's going to give you a specific characteristic of this lineage. So the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of Yahuwah and have the testimony of Yahushua HaMashiach. Okay? So keep in mind in Revelation 12, it represents the nation of Israel, but always as before, even in the Old Testament, we always have strangers to cleave to the old covenant or take hold onto Yahuwah's covenant, and they would become converts by circumcision of the flesh. But now through Yahushua HaMashiach, they no longer in this earthly realm. I'm talking about in the earthly realm. I'm not talking about the new kingdom, but in this earthly realm, they don't keep the covenant. They don't keep the circumcision of the flesh. They follow the circumcision of the spirit that's not done by man's hand. And that's with dealing with removing the hardness from their hearts. For we know the Hebrew Israelites are stiff-necked people, have uncircumcised hearts. So this is why when you read Ezekiel chapter 36, verse 21 through 36, they're going to have to be given a new heart and a new spirit because of that. When you get the spiritual meaning about the veil that Moses had to put on his face because his face shone so bright with 2 Corinthians chapter 3, you begin to understand. But let's get back on track. So let's go to, with verse 6, there will be matrix that would stand up for Yahuwah and Yahushua HaMashiach when the Antichrist come. Okay? Verse 7. And the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel? I would tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carry her, which have the 7 heads and 10 horns. So get ready. The angel's about to give you the interpretation of the woman and of the beast. This is very important. Okay? Verse 8. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. So this is very important for you to write down. So we know this next kingdom that's coming is dealing with the son of perdition, because you see the word perdition here, because this beast that comes is going to go into perdition. And when he saw the beast, it was and is not and shall ascend out the bottomless pit. Okay. Again, that was and is not and yet is. Remember, the last Antichrist that's coming will be the opposite of Yahushua HaMashiach. And he's going to deceive the whole world with a great deception. I'm talking about a great deception that it can even fool the elect. But those who read and study the word and have the Holy Spirit dwell in them and seek the Father out for his truth will recognize that it's not Yahushua HaMashiach. But the rest of the world going to be deceived. Let's keep going. Verse 9. And here is the mind which have wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. So this has nothing to do with America. So take America out of your mind for right now when it talks about this beast. So this beast going to have 7 heads, which are 7 mountains. So we know that represents kingdoms and governments. And I have a detail write out for you, but we'll go over after reading these verses first. Okay? And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. So what he's telling you, 5 of their kingdoms have fallen, and 1 is still existing to this day, and the other is not yet come. That's the Antichrist. Okay? And when he come, he can only reign for a short period. And that short period is 3.5 years, as confirmed in Revelation chapter 12 and Daniel's chapter, I believe it's chapter 7. All right. Verse 11. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th and is of the 7 and go into perdition. So now I'm going to take you to something that I had typed out for you, which can give you more understanding of verse 9 through 11. Okay? Because we're not going to touch the 10 horns yet that's on the beast. So here's the breakdown of what we just read. Revelation 16, the coming of the beast that was, that is, and is not, even is the eighth of the seven. Now, in the Bible, it would describe the beast as being red. Or I would say like red dragon. And red represents Esau's kingdom as written in 2nd Ezra chapter 6, verse 7 through 9. And read Genesis chapter 25, verse 24, which is the book of Obadiah, verses 1 to 21. And Esau has several other names: Esau, Edomites, Idumea. Okay? So red represents Esau's kingdom. Now, in one of my videos, I talk about the book of Decoding, how he separates Satan and Lucifer as saying that they're two separate entities. So maybe this, what I'm about to read now, may give us some insight. Again, we will seek Yahuwah on further understanding. So this is talking about the king of Babylon. Remember, the king of Babylon is dealing with America now. Modern Babylon today is America. Okay, that's the woman that sits upon the beast, the whore, because she turns men to other deities. She does not turn them to worship the true Elohim, which is Yahuwah. Okay, so the king of Babylon, and Babylon is America, is Lucifer. And Lucifer is the son of the morning. Another word for him is O Day Star, which is represented by the planet Venus, and as written in Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12. And then I put some information about Edom, how they're going to be destroyed for their pride, because of their violence and hatred against their brother Jacob, which is the children of Israel today, the Negroes. Okay? And we're going to read Isaiah chapter 14 because it's something very important that I want you to know what the Most High said. Because when he showed to me in July 2016 that a sword is coming to Jacob, and then when we read Jeremiah chapter 30, how he's going to redeem Jacob out of his troubles, now we're going to get understanding about this. Again, the gathering will happen before the destruction of Babylon, and Babylon is America. So we know the dragon represents Satan, and Satan is the angel in charge, the chief. Okay, that's mentioned in Revelation chapter 12, verse 9, and is a beast referred as a kingdom. Okay, Daniel chapter 7, verse 23. Now, the seven heads are like seven empires slash governments slash kingdoms of Esau. And you can read that in Revelation chapter 13, verse 2 to 3, Daniel chapter 7, verse 23, and chapter 10, verse 1 through 4. Also read Daniel chapter 7, verse 1 through 28, and chapter 10, 1 through 45 to get the whole picture of what's going on. Let me go down a little bit more. Now we get into the juicy part, dealing with the seven heads, the seven kingdoms, seven governments of Esau. So we know it started first with the Greeks, also known as the Grecians, under Alexander the Great Kingdom, and you know his kingdom split into four, as prophesied by Daniel. And I do have a video on that, dealing with the Greeks slash Grecians is a kingdom of Esau. You check that video out under the Esau and Edom playlist on my YouTube channel. Also, you know, when Rome ruled, because that's what Daniel was telling you about in Daniel's chapter 11. I believe it starts with verse 30 and end with verse 45, because we are still remaining in Rome kingdom of this day, and his ensign is the eagle, which is Edom inside the eagle, as written in the book of Obadiah as well. So Rome is that deadly head or the deadly wound that's on the beast in Revelation 13:3. Then it went from Rome to Spain to France to Germany. Could you think about Adolf Hitler? Okay. Russia and Great Britain, also known as England, which is the mother of America. And America is not a part of the beast. America is the woman that sits on the beast. For we know now America is the ruling nation of this earth at this time. America rules everybody right now. Okay? But we're going to see what's going to happen to America in Revelation 17 because it's going to give us more insight. So America, USA, the mystery Babylon, the woman sitting on the beast. Read Revelation chapter 16, 17, 18, and their precepts. For those who do not have the 1611 Bible, if you go to their website and click on the 1611 tab and click on the picture of the Bible, you can get the summary and the precepts. Also, here's where we get into the nitty gritty, dealing with the Antichrist, the last reigning Antichrist. Also, the 8 beasts / kingdom / king mentioned in Revelation 13:11, 17, verse 8 through 11, and chapter 20, verse 1 through 18, is come out of the 7 kingdoms / mountains / governments of Esau. Okay, so this last Antichrist is going to come out of Esau kingdoms that he has already established on the earth, out of those 7 governments or 7 kingdoms. So he's going to come as the king of the north, which this is what Daniel 11 is talked about. I think it starts with verse 40. So he's going to come as the king of the north, and he is the son of position. He is the son of perdition that's written in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. This is very important. So remember, Satan is represented by the planet Saturn, also known as the star of Rifram, which is the 6-pointed star. And Satan is Gog. Okay? So this last Antichrist is Gog, who is the prince of Meshech and Tubal. Now, this is very important. You want to write this down. Another way to say this is that Satan is the last Antichrist, who is Gog, the prince of the chiefs of Meshech and Tubal. Now, Meshech represents Turkey. And remember when we talked about earlier that the seat of Satan is in Turkey? And Tubal, who is also a descendant of the sons of Japheth, country is Spain and Portugal. And Gog, which is the last Antichrist, shall reign for 3.5 years, as written in Revelation 20, verse 1 through 8. Especially look at verse 8, and the precept of verse 8 is Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 2, and 39, verse 1. And also look at Revelation 11 and read the book of Nicodemus, because the 2 witnesses, who is Enoch and Elijah, is going to come against the Antichrist. And those who have not been redeemed by Yahushua HaMashiach, it's going to be given another chance, because the 2 witnesses going to be left there to preach and to prophesy and to afflict great plagues on the earth for 3.5 years. Remember when we just read Revelation 16 about the coming of Yahushua HaMashiach to watch and pray? So we know when this Antichrist is reigning for 3.5 years, the redemption of the 144, the church, and Israel being led back into the Holy Land will occur before the destruction of Babylon, and somewhere before this last Antichrist inflicts his mark. That means make people take the mark. This is very important to know. Now, I'm not predicting the day and hour of Yahushua HaMashiach. I'm just trying to get an idea how these events will fall in relation to the redemption. Okay? Because the 144 has to be redeemed, because they're going to come with Yahushua HaMashiach after the 3.5 years, after the 2 witnesses are killed, so they can defeat the beast and his kingdom, as written in Revelation chapter 15. Now you see where we're going with this? Okay? Because I got to give you hope, my people, because whatever happened now, we don't know what's going to happen now at this point. As of September, I think the day is the I think it's the 20th. Let me make sure. Let's see. It's either September 19th or September 20th today. And the day is Tuesday of 2011. we don't know what else is going to happen before our redemption. So I'm trying to give you hope and have to have faith, because whether you are killed or whether you survive and witness these great plagues, do not lose your faith. Believe in the promises that Yahuwah has told us, because those who die in Christ shall be resurrected in the first resurrection. Okay? I'm sorry. This thing don't want to act right. Okay, I wonder. Okay, here we go. So it's very important that you don't forget these promises. No matter what happened, keep your faith strong and believe. Okay? Now, dealing with the 10 horns are the United Nations. So when we go back and read that verse, let's first read that verse and then come back here. We're going to start at verse 12. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. So they're gonna come joining with the last Antichrist, who is Gog, the prince of Meshech and Tubal. Okay, so let's go back. So the 10 horns are the United Nations, which is also known as the European Union, the EU/Common Market European Economic Community, and the abbreviation for that is E.C, established, which was established in 1958. Now today they are made up of 10 members. I did have Denmark, I guess, as a past member. Okay. So the current members of them, you can see in the picture below, is Belgium, France, Germany, Greece, Italy, Luxembourg, Portugal, Spain, the Netherlands, and the United Kingdom. So remember, these are Esau Kingdom. Okay. I also forgot to mention that the supported Jews are in Esau Kingdom, the Jewish people who are converts. And one of the main characteristics you can identify them is through the red hair. For example, this man right here, he comes from the lineage of the supported Jews, and his name is Sumner Redstone. But look at his hair. His hair is red, but it's turning white. Today we call it gray. And this is one of the ancient traits that the Edomites have that exists to this very day. And you probably say, well, why is that important? Because even in the Gentile history book, this is what they said about the Jewish people, how they could identify them in the past is by reading by this characteristic. So I'm going to read to you what's highlighted in blue. It said, red hair is also found amongst the Ashkenazi Jewish populations. Now, when you begin to study about the two groups of Jewish people in the land of Israel, they have what they call supported Jews and Ashkenazi Jews. It depends on where they come from. With most of the time, the supported Jews would come from Spain. The Ashkenazi Jews would come from like Germany or Europe. Let's keep reading. In European country prior to the 20th century, red hair was often seen as a stereotypically Jewish trait. During the Spanish Inquisition, all those with red hair were identified as Jewish. In Italy, red hair was associated with Italian Jews, and Judas was traditionally depicted as red hair in Italian and Spanish art. Again, my brother will always interject himself in our history book or in the word, but they are not the true Jews. Writers from Shakespeare to Dickens will identify Jewish characters by giving them red hair. The stereotype that red hair is Jewish remain in parts of Eastern Europe and Russia. So this is how you know who Edom is. Now, Edom is the ruling kingdom of today, and the other nations have joined in with them. Read Psalms chapter 83, and again Jeremiah chapter 16, verse 14 to 21. This is why when you read their books, it was saying that they are the people, but they are not. The only book that will really prove who are the people is the Bible, the 1611 version. For the Negroes are the children of Israel, and Negro skin can be brown/black before they start mixing with the other nations, my people. The original hair color of the Negroes are black or white, and white is gray before they start mixing with the other nation. And that hair and their hair characteristic resemble what Yahuwah and Yahushua hair characteristics are. And that's written in Daniel chapter 7, chapter 9, and Revelation chapter 1. For our hair is woolly in texture. That means kinky, curly. And again, it can be black or white. And read Matthew chapter 5, verse 36. As well as Leviticus chapter 13, because it talks about our hair color in regards to the beard and the scalp. Okay? So let me go back. So now that we know who are the 10 horns are and what represents them, so they have one mind. They're going to join this last Antichrist. Okay? These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is master of masters and kings of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. So let me see what that precept represent. The precept for verse 14, let's click on it. You want to read 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 15, and Revelation chapter 19, verse 16. Write that down so you can read that in your spare time. Now, you need to ask yourself, who are called and chosen and faithful to be with Yahushua HaMashiach? That answer can be found in Revelations chapter 15, and also in your spare time, read Revelation chapter 14. But I'm just going to read Revelation chapter 15 to you. And to save time, I'm not going to click the screen, but you can go there with your Bibles now. So turn with me to Revelation chapter 15. I'm going to read verse 1 through 3. And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having 7 last plagues, for in them is filled up the wrath of Yahuwah. And I saw it as were a sea of glass mingled with fire, in them that have gotten the victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name. And that's 666. Stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of Yahuwah. And they sing the song of Moses, the servant of Yahuwah, and the song of the Lamb, saying, great and marvelous are thy works. Great and marvelous are thy works, Yahuwah Elohim Almighty. Just and true are thy ways, thou King of saints. So I'm just proving to you now that redemption and the gathering has to happen before the destruction of Babylon, because that's dealing with the king of Babylon, who is Lucifer. Then after that take place, the Antichrist is going to have to establish his kingdom, and he's going to come with a great destruction to the world, and the world's going to believe that he is the Mashiach, okay? But he is not. And then once he ruled for 3.5 years, and the 2 witnesses going against him, who is Enoch and Elijah, for they did not die, my people. They did not go to Sheol. They were saved for that very day to come against him. So after they died on the 4th day, because it's going to be 3.5 days that their body can be laying dead, and it's going to resurrect on the 4th day. Then somewhere, Yahushua HaMashiach is going to come with the 144,000 to defeat the beast. Okay? Let's read verse 15. And he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. So that water that the whore was sitting on represents peoples who represent a lot of nations who speak different languages. So you want to write that down. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So this is leading to the prophecy of America being destroyed by the other nations. They to the point they are sick of her. They are fed up with America, because right now America is dictating to everybody, controlling everything, and they're sick of it. Verse 17, for Yahuwah hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast. until the words of Yahuwah shall be fulfilled. So again, no matter how bad things are, my people, everything is working according to the will of Yahuwah. Just have patience, just have faith, and believe in our Holy Father. He has not forgotten us. And you shall be rewarded for enduring and overcoming through these great times. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city with reign over the kings of the earth. So remember what we read in Revelation 16, that great city, which is Babylon, will be divided into three parts, and it shall be destroyed. So now we get into the nitty gritty, which is Revelations chapter 18. And what I may do to keep this video short, I'm just going to read some highlights of Revelation 18 so we can get to 19. And the summary of Revelation 18 is that Babylon is fallen, the people of Yahuwah commanded to depart out of her, the kings of the earth with the merchants and marine lament over her, the saints rejoice for the judgment of Yahuwah upon her. And to keep this short, when you read this chapter, you're going to realize that Babylon has to be destroyed first, okay? Then following after her destruction, guess who else is going to take over? You're going to have the last Antichrist taking over for his 3.5 years periods. But before Babylon destroyed, guess what? Yahuwah has to redeem his people, which is the 144, the bride-sash church. And he has to bring that remnant, that chosen remnant, back into the Holy Land. So we got a lot of things going on here that has to take place. Okay? For those who read Ezekiel chapter 38 and 39, we see why, because the chosen remnant has to be in the land. So that way, when you read Daniel chapter 11, guess what? The last Antichrist is going to get whiff of how they doing in that land, and he's going to try to come to attack them. It goes deep, my people. Okay? So some things I want you to write down for Revelation chapter 8, dealing with some precepts here. When you go to verse 2, and I'm going to read verse 2. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hole of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean, hateful bird. So when you read that, the precept for that is Revelation chapter 14, verse 5. And I'm going to keep reading further down because, like I said, this reads as a conversation, is not in order. Okay? For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Okay? And abundance of her delicacy means or power. Verse 4, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partaker of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. So this is very important, because when you read the Old Testament, you will learn that Yahuwah will deliver us, but you got to be what? You have to receive salvation if you want to be in the ark of salvation, if you want to be hidden in the pavilion. Now, I don't preach against those who do leave Babylon, because I don't know what Yahuwah told you, because I don't know what your part is in this great thing that's about to happen. But one thing I do know about his word said that in order for the nations to know who he is, and also as written in Jeremiah 16, verse 14 through 21, that the nations of this earth will no longer know him as the Elohim that delivered the children of Israel out of ancient Egypt, but they would know him as the Elohim that delivered the children of Israel out of the country of the north and of the other lands. So we have to stay here, as we have to stay in the lands of our captivity in faith, so Yahuwah can use us to get his honor and glory. Remember what I told you before, everything that happened in Exodus is going to happen again. He has to make man realize who he is. He has to let them know that who is the I am. And he's going to use us to show them who he is. Okay? So unless the Father personally told you to get up and leave, then you follow Yahuwah's instruction. But if he have not told you that, you stand by faith and wait for him Okay, because he's going to send his son to lead us back into the Holy Land. All right. Okay, we read verse 5. It said, "For her sins have reached unto heaven, and Yahuwah have remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she reward you, and double unto her, double according to her works. In the cup which she have filled, fill to her double." So also read Jeremiah chapter 31, because we got to think about, we got brothers and sisters in prisons, brothers and sisters who are sick, who are lame, who are blind, who cannot just get up and travel. We have brothers and sisters who cannot get passports. And do you think actually that our Holy Father will leave behind the innocent? He's going to make a way. And that way will be through Yahushua. And Yahushua going to be with the angels. And they're going to help redeem us up out of here. Okay? And if you don't believe me, just seek Yahuwah. Pray to him and ask him for understanding on what the things I'm telling you. Read his word. Remember Luke chapter 11, verse 9 to 13. Ask in the name of Yahushua, and it shall be given to you. Seek, and ye shall find. And knock on the door, and it shall be opened unto you. Okay? That's my husband playing in the background, knocking on the door. All right. Let's keep going. So when you go to verse, let me see here. Where was that verse? I'm trying to look for. When you go to verse 7, let's read that now. "How much she have glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, shall see no sorrow." So the precept for verse 7 is Isaiah chapter 47. And I also know dealing with the merchants of merchants is dealing with Tyre. And I'm trying to find that verse. So what I will do, I will post it in the bubble, or I will post it in the description box of where you can read about Tyre and see how America compared to Tyre, because America and Tyre both are the merchants of merchants. Oh, here it go. I believe it is Jeremiah 51, 1 through 6, but I don't, wait a minute. What I will do, I'll find you that verse just to make sure that's right. Okay. So in your spare time, read that chapter. Okay. Again, the gathering and the redemption will occur before Babylon is destroyed. But you got to get your seal. You got to be sealed by the blood of the Lamb, which is the Holy Spirit, as read in Ephesians chapter 1, verse 13 through 14. Just like they did in ancient Egypt, they put the blood of the lamb on the doorposts so the death angel would pass by them. Okay? Just like with Noah. Noah was on the ark of safety because he was in righteousness. So, you can't be lukewarm in this. You have to serve Yahuwah with your whole heart. You have to keep his covenant, which we call the law. All right? And through Yahushua HaMashiach, he will show you how to keep the law. And he will show you what has changed in the law. So make sure you read the gospel and study the gospel with the Old Testament, and then you begin to understand these spiritual things. But when we get in the new kingdom, we will keep the covenant as written and commandment. Okay? But right now, we are operating in the spiritual right now. Because in this flesh, none of us can keep the law perfectly. That's why Yahushua HaMashiach had to come. So now let us go to Revelation chapter 19. And before I read that chapter, I do want to read to you about God, who is the Antichrist, the son of perdition. And I'm going to just read to you 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, because I'm just going to read to you the summary, because the summary gives you enough information to prove to you what I'm saying. And you can read this chapter also too in your spare time. And it says, "He willeth them to continue steadfast in the truth, and in the truth receive." Let me read that again. "He willeth them to continue steadfast in the truth receive, sure that there shall be a departure from the faith and a discovery of Antichrist before the day of Yahushua HaMashiach come. and thereupon repeated his formal exhortation and prayer for them. Okay? So we're going to know who the Antichrist is before Yahushua HaMashiach come. That's part of one of the other crews too. So we're going to know who the Antichrist is before Yahushua HaMashiach comes. We also know that the gathering and the redemption will occur before Babylon is destroyed, and that's America. So we got some important pieces here. And we know the last Antichrist would be the king of the north. We know Lucifer is the king of Babylon, which is America. And I did want to read Isaiah chapter 14 to you. Let me get that right now while it's on my mind. Because that's very important, because what Yahuwah told me about the sword in July 2016, that is coming to the house of Jacob. It's coming, my people. But he's letting you know, do not lose hope and faith. For in the times of our trouble, in the time when this sword come upon us, he will send a deliverer to redeem us. Okay? Revelations chapter Isaiah chapter 14. And the summary of this is said, Yahuwah's merciful restoration of Israel. They triumph insultation over Babel. Yahuwah's purpose against Assyria and Palestine is threatened. So we're going to read up to verses 1 through 23. So we're in this time now where for Yahuwah will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of Yahuwah for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, who captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Let me see what precept is that to verse 2. So in Hebrews, it means when take captives, that they had taken them captives. Let us go back. Now this is dealing with the tyrant falling. Verse 3. And it shall come to pass in the day that when in the day when Yahuwah shall give them rest from thy sorrow and from thy fear and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve. So we can be entering into his rest, the wilderness. Read Revelation chapter 12. Okay? That's part of the redemption. Verse 4. That thou should take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, How have the oppressed ceased, the golden city ceased. Okay? So now he's talking to the king of Babylon. This is Lucifer. Yahuwah have broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continuous stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger, is persecuted and none hindered. So how that is accomplished? Remember what Yahushua did when he died on the cross. He defeated death and took the keys from Satan too. When you read Revelation 1 of the bottomless pit, so he gained control. Okay. Because now Satan had taken the earthly realm from Adam when he fell. So read the book of 1st and 2nd of Adam and Eve. Let's get back on track here. Verse 7. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, Since thou art laid down, no fetter is come up against us. Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirred up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It have raised up their thrones, all the kings of the nation. And they shall speak and say unto thee, Art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Verse 11. Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vows. The worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? Okay. And son of Lucifer, or I mean, son of morning means old day star, and that is the planet Venus. And the idol sign to represent that is the 5-pointed pentagram star. Okay. Verse 13, for thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of Yahuwah. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. So America, keep in mind that this is dealing with a principality, Lucifer. So he can inhabit any president that he wants. And based on American history, they was the one who went out of space, far as conquering, they put their flag on the moon and so forth. Okay. Let's keep going. And you think about it, they up there going there into the heavens. And the heavens was made by Yahuwah. Verse 14, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. And you can even see that on some of the monies. They put images of them conquering space. Verse 15, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms? So I know this verse here is saying a man, but remember, you're dealing with principalities. They can inhabit a man's body. And the evidence of this is Judas. Before Judas betrayed Yahushua HaMashiach, Satan entered him. And that is written, I think it's in either the book of Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John. Do a word search on it. Verse 17, thou made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners. All the kings of the nations, even all of them lie in glory, everyone in his own house. Okay, and we'll stop there. So I definitely had to read that so you can understand about the king of Babylon. That's dealing with Lucifer. Okay, so back to verse 19, just a recap of things. Again, redemption will be coming before the destruction of Babylon. The beast that comes of the seven is the Antichrist, the last Antichrist, who is called Gog, who is the prince of Meshech and Tubal. And he would be the king of the north. And some of us believe the king of the north, which we can see in news and evidence of this, is Russia. Okay. So whoever he is, he can be ruling over Russia, as well as the other countries of the north. Okay. When you read Ezekiel chapter 38. So I want to read to you the summary of Revelation chapter 19. Yahuwah is praised in heaven for judging the great whore and the vision the blood of his saints, the marriage of the Lamb, and the angel would not worship. The fowls called to the great slaughter. So again, I know a lot of y'all thinking about Yahushua HaMashiach, about when he will return. He has two parts. First part is that he got to redeem his purchased possession and take care of them before Babylon is destroyed. Okay. The next part is that after the two witnesses, he has to come with the 144,000 to defeat the last Antichrist. So he has two major parts when you study all these scriptures. So let me read the summary again of Revelation chapter 19. Yahuwah is praised in heaven for judging the great whore and avenging the blood of his saints, the marriage of the Lamb. The angel would not be worshipped. The fowls call to the great slaughter. So after Babylon is destroyed, then we know that the marriage of the Lamb will take place. Also read 2 Ezra chapter 2, verse 38 for verse 9 of this chapter, and Matthew chapter 22, verse 2. So I'm going to read down just a little ways, and this shall conclude this lesson, okay? Verse 1. And after these things, I heard a great voice of much people in heaven saying, Alleluia, salvation and glory and honor and power unto Yahuwah our Elohim. For true and righteousness are his judgments, for he hath judged the great whore, which did corrupt the earth with her fornication, and have avenged the blood of his servants at her hand. And again they said, Alleluia, Alleluia. I'm sorry, Alleluia. And her smoke rose up forever and ever. Verse 4. And the 24 elders and the four beasts fell down and worshipped Yahuwah. They sat on the throne, saying, Amen, Alleluia. And a voice came out of the throne, saying, Praise our Elohim, all ye servants, and ye that fear him, both small and great. And I heard, as it were, the voice of a great multitude, and as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of mighty thundering, saying, Alleluia. For Yahuwah Elohim omnipotent reigneth. Verse 7. Let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife had made herself ready. Read Ephesians chapter 5. Read that whole chapter. The key verse, I think, is 26. For now Yahushua HaMashiach will be married unto the church that's bride, the spiritual temple that's made without hand, the temple of Yahuwah. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white. For the fine linen is the righteousness of saints. And he said unto me, Right blessed are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. And he said unto me, These are the true sayings of Yahuwah. Okay. So in your spare time, read that whole chapter 2. Again, the precepts is Matthew chapter 22, verse 2. And also read 2nd Ezra chapter 2, verse 38. So let us go back to my first slide here. So as we had just went over, we have proven that the gathering shall happen before the destruction of Mystery Babylon, the harlot, which is USA, that sits upon the beast. We also discovered that Lucifer is the king of Babylon, which is America. We also learned that Gog is the last Antichrist to come, and he is the prince of Meshech and Tubal. Meshech represents Turkey, Tubal represents Spain and Portugal. We also learned that Christ will have two major parts to play. Here has to do with the redemption of the gathering, and also he will be coming back to deal with the Antichrist, because the Antichrist has to reign, my people, for 3.5 years, and during that time we will have the two witnesses who are Enoch and Elijah to prophesy and to go against the Antichrist. Okay, so I am going to scroll down so you can write down these scriptures, because it's a lot more to this, and to prove that Yahuwah is going to gather the remnant of the chosen remnant of Israel back into the Holy Land. Definitely read Isaiah chapter 11, verse 10 through 15, and 2nd Ezra chapter, the whole chapter 13 of the Apocrypha, and it's going to confirm what I'm saying. Yahuwah is sending back his son to carry all these tasks out in the earthly realm, because he has to prepare us to receive the Holy Father, to receive the new Holy Jerusalem and the new heaven and the new earth. So also watch my video dealing with the timeline, creation, and Enoch's 10-week prophecy, because when we get into day 13 of creation, which is day 8 from Adam, there where the millennium will start, dealing with the tabernacle of David being established. But most importantly, time with there'll be no record keeping of time, or no counting of time. It would change. In other words, somehow between the 8th day to the 10th day from Adam, time would no longer exist. Okay, and you have to read 2nd Enoch to understand what I'm talking about, or watch that video that was just made, which is also day 13 to day 15 from creation. All right, take this time now to pause the screen so you can write down all these scriptures that deal with these three groups of people, so you can understand how this is going to take place. I love you all. Remember to preach the gospel of the kingdom of heaven that is at hand. Also show the people how to receive salvation, as is written in Romans chapter 10, verse 8 to 13, and baptize them in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. For we know this is the season for him to return based on the signs. We are also waiting on the plague of darkness to come. Also, we also know that a great deception is about to come, for soon the Antichrist will be revealed, and he will place a great deception and start to enforce the mark of the beast, okay, upon all nations, small and great. So make sure you are preaching the gospel and baptizing the people, for you must be born again to enter into the kingdom of heaven. I love you, and shalom.